Welcome to It Takes Two. I'm Blair.
I'm Chris.
And today we are taking a deep dive into KB and Edmond.
Listen here, I need y'all to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. We just reached 10,000 subscribers and we are still continuing on with our celebration by giving you YouTubers that you can subscribe to. Are you ready for number 5?
I'm ready.
Number 5 is Natural Nay LA. She is also reviewing Love is Blind, and she's pretty good, guys.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's pretty good. She's really good. I seen her by herself. I seen her as well with I Be Chillin'. I think they have something coming up on Sunday. I think y'all should tap in with that. Subscribe to her. Let her know that we sent you. And Blair, I want to talk about these two, and even a private conversation we had behind the scenes, right?
Okay.
I remember when we was planning for the week and talking about like what topics we gonna do for deep dives and things like that, and you brought up Edmond, of course, and you brought up KB, and you wanted to actually touch on a topic that we actually been hearing actually amongst the board since episode 1, since we saw him. Basically, are these reality TV shows a good place for Black women to basically participate in, right? And I want to touch on that now. In the moment when you brought that question up, I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. But especially after the most recent episodes, I actually want to unbox that thought, unbox that idea. And on the last episode, we saw KB reach her breaking point.
Yeah.
Right? Her breaking point to the point where she called him out of his name, called him the B word, right? And before we even start assigning accountability of who's at fault here, we know the stereotypes when it comes to Black women, when it comes to them being aggressive, with them kind of, the angry Black woman stigma. You get what I'm saying? And it made me, when I saw that scene, it made me go back to that question that you asked about, was KB basically set up to fail by being paired up with Edmond, right? By even allowing him in the process. And I'm going to answer first before I let you basically lead that part of the conversation. I 100% believe that Edmond should not have been allowed to participate in this process. Number one, before we even get into who he is, we need to go off of the reputation that Love is Blind is trying to say that they are, right? They are trying to represent a show that are for people who are serious about marriage, to the point where we are willing to put you behind a wall to where you don't know who is the person behind the wall, that actually y'all will actually connect on something deeper than looks. So if the whole point of this production or this show is to be Love is Blind and we're serious about marriage, and Nick and Vanessa have no problem using their marriage as some type of model, as like, listen here, like it worked for us and things like that, like we are married and we're doing this show together and things of that nature, I think that you should bring people on this show that are serious about marriage. Now I understand people are going to lie and say they are serious about marriage when they can say anything. But when y'all was going through the whole casting thing, and then y'all see that he eat boogers, or even just that alone, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or just even how he has portrayed himself on the show, I do think you are setting whoever links up with him to fail. What is your thoughts just on that opening statement alone?
Okay, so first I'll touch on, is reality TV, or we'll stick to Love is Blind.
Okay.
Is Love is Blind a place for Black women to find their partners? And I put maybe. You're not going to box me in.
You on the line, right? Okay.
Because we have Lauren and Cam. We have, I think it was Tiffany and her husband from one of the previous seasons. And so it can be done, but I think that we have to take into consideration that in Love is Blind, you get to choose your partner.
Yeah.
And that's something that I just can't ignore. I think when it comes to Love Island, I think sometimes the Black women have an unfair disadvantage, especially outside of the U.S. The U.S. just kind of started, being a lot better for Black women. And then when we talk about Married at First Sight, that has not been great for Black women overwhelmingly. But I also think that for Married at First Sight, overwhelmingly, people don't do well
on
that anyway. But I think for Love is Blind specifically, I think it's what you make of it. And I think that's what it's about. It's an experiment to see if love is truly blind. And I think that you have to go in with an intention of knowing what you want in a partner, choosing people based off of what they say. And then when you get into the real world, actually doing the whole evaluation of, are they who they claim to be?
Yeah.
And I think that where some people get caught up, which was Ashley and Tyler during their season, is that you kind of want to say, okay, well, this is my fiance who's going to be my husband, so I'm going to ride for them, except for the fact that you're still in the kind of like the discovery phase of trying to figure out, is this person really right for you? And so I think that when it comes to Love is Blind specifically, I don't think Black women have a outright disadvantage. I honestly think the show being Love is Blind kind of takes some of that away, but I think that if you're Black, you can kind of tell across the other wall if the other person is Black. And, you know, it's just
of course, exactly.
It's just a thing. It's just a thing.
And go ahead. No, keep going.
And so because of that, I think it's more so of you making sure that you're choosing the best person for you, and if your person's not there, they're not there. I also think that when it comes to casting, making certain choices, I feel like as reality TV has shifted, you've got less genuine people coming on reality TV.
And that was my point right there.
And I think the pool is getting smaller as far as the people who are actually serious. When we looked at the guys, when they were having the singles meeting, and all of them were shocked to find out or remember that the wedding was 3 weeks away.
They're kind of like, oh yeah.
Then that just kind of makes you wonder, what do they be telling y'all? Or what do you actually think this is? And I think that they probably push the experiment more than the actual marriage part, which is probably what, you know, a lot of the women and some of the guys are there for. But yeah, that's kind of my overall all around the world thoughts.
Especially with rumors, and I don't know them to be true, but so that's why I'm gonna say they're rumors, that production or, you know, the powers that be are pushing Edmond to be more himself, if that makes sense. Basically act out. You get what I'm saying? Before I start basically putting all the blame on Edmond, because Edmond's definitely gonna get some blame this episode, I'm gonna put blame amongst anybody who is willing to be on a show like this. Right? If you are someone who's willing to sign up for love through a reality TV show, I'm already viewing you as like, oh yeah, you're already kind of off your rocker, in my opinion, because this is an extreme way to find love. At that marriage. So Black woman, white woman, Black man, white man, y'all all the same to me, as y'all crazy for even doing this experiment, recruited or even put in an application. Right? So all of y'all are weird to me. Right, if we want to be 100% factual, actual when it comes to how I think about y'all. And I agree to your point with the whole, hey, at the end of the day, even though I may have put this mole into this experiment when it comes to Edmond, at the end of the day, KB, you have the choice to continue on or not, right? And I think when you talk about the pool, it's getting smaller and smaller when it comes to actual genuine people signing up for these shows. I think they kind of put a carrot in front of your face, and they basically say, hey, listen, it's your choice, kind of. And then they put a carrot in front of your face to where it's like, well, if you're not going to basically push on with this relationship with Edmond, now this is just me just making a scenario. If you ain't gonna push on this date with Edmond and things like that, you ain't gonna get no camera time, because there was other Black people who was in the pods who we never saw. You get what I'm saying? So there is, even though they are giving you freedom of choice, if you came there with other motives besides actual genuine love and to be married within 4 weeks, that carrot can seem more like an incentive, and that is like, you know what, I might can make it work. You get what I'm saying?
And then once you get into it, if there are these claims of whatever's in the contracts about paying things back or not getting a full payment if you don't make it to certain points in the show, then that's another incentive to keep going when you kind of know that this is something that's probably not going to work out for you.
So that is the whole, at least from my perspective, how I feel like, hey, I do feel like whoever was going to be with Edmond was set up to basically be the drama of the show. And that's why my signs say what it says. It's like it was only going to go this way.
But I guess for me, it didn't have to be a setup because nobody had to choose them.
No,
you know?
Yeah, and no one didn't have to choose them, but it goes back to my point. If they are dingling a carrot in front of your face and you're not 100% there for marriage, you're kind of there for marriage, but you're kind of there to also grow your social media presence. It's almost like, yes, it's my choice, but at the same time, you're kind of influencing my choice to kind of like, hey, he's not that bad. Even though in the real world, you probably wouldn't even talk to this person, woman or male, and things of that nature. So I agree 100% when it comes to, hey, at the end of the day, it's your choice. But I'm already thinking in my head that they're not already thinking smartly for even signing up for the show. You get what I'm saying? For even putting themselves in this situation, it's almost like, do I trust you to make the right choice when really the wrong choice from the beginning was signing up for a show like this? Like it's almost like, yeah, I can't really blame you for making the third bad choice and so many bad choices you made already, to the point where you're willing to seclude yourself in these pods with no contact, no phone, no contact to the real world and things of that nature. Your parents, your family don't know where you are unless you told them. You get what I'm saying? And then you're having speed dates without seeing the person to get married within 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Before we even meet Edmond, you made 5 bad decisions already.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, I'm already not trusting you to make the best decision in that moment, you know?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about what happened.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? The bad decisions on top of bad decisions on top of bad decisions. We saw in this episode where a lot of people believed that KB was at her breaking point, to where she called him out his name. She called him the B word. And I predicted, while we was watching real time, from the time she gave that hypothetical about the big buff strong guy and he didn't give the answer that she wanted, I said, Blair, she gonna call this man a B word. And I was hinting it for y'all when I was giving y'all that whole analogy of, hey, the table's gonna turn and she's gonna start punching down on this man, and then he's gonna get the sympathy edit. Let me talk about the sympathy edit at the moment. I was going back and forth with some of y'all in the comments, and I want to say I agree with majority of you. A lot of y'all have said that Edmond is a fully functional adult. I agree, right? Because as far as I know, a lot of people believe he should be on the spectrum. He didn't say it, and guess what? No one let us know that he is. So guess what? I know he's off, but unless there's a real diagnosis, you're a fully functional adult. You get what I'm saying? And I believe that all the actions that Edmond have did on camera, off camera, he should be fully accountable for, fully responsible for, right? But at the same time, I feel like y'all are putting 20 on 10 just a little bit, right? Y'all believe that outside of his weirdness, outside of him eating boogers, outside of him kissing the floor, outside of him putting himself on a cabinet, that he's regular. And I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to go so far and say that he's on the spectrum because I'm not a doctor, but we know regular. Like we can look at it and be like, that's not regular. Someone who's willing to do all those things, not privately, but actually be on camera and doing it for the world to see. Even when he's in social circles and things like that, when he was rubbing KB feet and kissing it in front of people, there's just something where he just don't have the awareness to actually like, hey, like there's certain things that you should do behind doors and something that you should do like in public. This is not one of those moments. You get what I'm saying? So even with all of that said, I feel like this was the only way that it was going to happen. That's why I was telling KB, hey, KB, you need to leave. And I find it very hard to believe that KB is in love with this guy. Now, after watching 11 episodes, something is definitely wrong with KB. But I do still believe between those two, I'd be like, KB, you know better. Edmond, he's supposed to know better, but I have no actual evidence that he knows better because I see him putting himself in the cabinet. But I know, KB, you have some sense about yourself. And I think even though Edmond should be accountable for his actions, we cannot put the accountability of her calling him out his name on him. That got to be 100% on her.
I guess when I start thinking about accountability, first of all, I want to say that when you're coming into this discovery phase of meeting your person one-on-one, like I said before, this is an opportunity for you to get to know them.
Yeah.
And I think that KB had an idea of who she wanted to be with, and Edmond was not measuring up in the things he was doing, the ways he was acting, the ways he was answering her questions. And so do believe that in relationships that you should communicate with your partner if you have a need that you feel like is unmet. But if you can tell that he is not the person that you have listed out that you want to be with, then I don't think it's fair for you to try to hold them accountable to whoever that person is. I don't think it's fair for you to try to hold them accountable for somebody that they've never shown themselves to be. So that's where, when we get into Edmond's accountability, I'm like, the only thing that I felt like so far he had to be accountable for was for flipping out over her not wanting to give up the coochie. But fair. Other than that, he's being himself, and I don't think he's trying to hurt her. I think that she's frustrated by who he is. And to me, that tells me that you need to find somebody that you actually want to be around. Especially if he always shown himself to be this way. Yeah, from the time you met him. And I will say, if we do want to get into the conversation about how she thinks he acts different on versus off camera. Yeah, let's go there. Then I believe, do you want to be with somebody who you think is fake? Who fakes for the camera? I feel like there's no real way to win. And then when he is bringing out the flowers to her as an apology, he's doing it on camera. So so then that makes me wonder, so do you believe this, but you don't believe the other ways he's acted on camera? Exactly. So it's giving very unserious, as you would say. Unserious, right? I was going to go to that example 100%. So when he's off camera, KB has basically alleged that he acts a total different person than he is on camera, off camera, right? So let's use that example perfectly. To where, okay, we heard him say on the mountain before he got called out his name that, hey, if I don't feel sorry, I'm not going to apologize, or else you will know I'm not really sorry, right? Yeah. To paraphrase, right? So that's one way of him acting on camera compared to how she alleged he acts off camera. Then, like, scenes later, we see him coming in with flowers, right? And basically an apology that we all can tell that he's just apologizing for reasons that he don't know why. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, just to keep her around. Exactly. So she doesn't leave him. But she accepts that on-camera personality, knowing that that's not real. And then she got the nerve to say in that situation, in that scene, that basically, even though she did apologize for cussing at him, and yeah, I like more direct apologies. I'm sorry for calling you the B word, but you know what? Because that's what she asked of him. What are you sorry for? Exactly. So that's why I'm like, okay. And then she's basically in this moment after being so angry up on that mountain for all the other things. She wasn't just angry at one thing. She was angry at a whole bunch of things. And then she's willing to accept this obvious, mediocre, just for the camera apology. Honestly, I wouldn't classify it as that. I think that he came in with his best apology in order to smooth things over with her. I didn't think it was mediocre. I felt like, if she doesn't believe him to be whoever he is on camera, then don't believe the apology either. I thought it was fine. But the reason why I said mediocre is on the mountain, he already said that he did not do anything. Yeah. So what changed? The only thing that changed from the mountain, he said he thought about it. The only thing that changed from the mountain to like the time that they was in that kitchen was that he got called the B word. Okay. Right? And then she's over here with that's what a man does. A man comes in and did what you did. You know, he comes in and he put it all out on the table. And I'm just like, is this what you want? And this is what my problem with KB is, right? She goes back and forth between mother KB and fiance KB. You can't be both, right? You have to choose which one you want to be. And the thing about it is, when you're fiance KB, you have to be equal to the person that you are engaged to. Yeah. Which I don't think she likes. Right. I think whenever she want to get into Mama KB, then there's a clear power of who's on top and who's on the bottom. You get what I'm saying? That's why Edmond can be having his own conversation with Nick and what is her name? Annie? Yeah. And she can butt in and say, what did you say? You know, admire and don't compare. That's a power dynamic that she is flexing. Basically, I'm telling you what to say, telling you how to talk. That's not what we do. Yeah. Compared to an equal partner of just saying, hey, that hurt my feelings. Yeah. Like it sounds very different. It's like correction versus communication. Yes. Yeah. It's the same as, hey, I need you to go to the store and pick up these things from the store. That sounds the same as, hey, before I get home, take the chicken out. And when we talk about that, I was having a few more thoughts about that situation. Help me. My stance has not changed, right? I just have more thoughts. That's fair. she was talking about how all he had to do was cut his hair that day. Mm-hmm. And the way that I'm thinking about it is, just because you're running around to a whole bunch of different stores doesn't mean that he didn't plan his day out for him to be prepared and ready to go at a certain time. Mm-hmm. So yes, maybe from 3 to 4, I only have to cut my hair, but that's because I did everything else I needed to do. So that way, between 3 and 4, I only had to cut my hair. And I do think that it is nice if your partner is able to pick up the slack and help you out. Yeah. I think it's even better if you say, hey, I'm going to be busy on Friday. On Wednesday, do you think you could pick these things up? Or earlier Friday, can you fit it in your schedule to do X, Y, and Z? Mm-hmm. And the thing is, with the partnership, or if you're just in a relationship with somebody that you care about and respect, you'll respect their time and their schedule. And if it's something that they really can't fit in, you're not looking at them like, oh, well, you have less to do and you should be able to do what I ask of you. No, if I have something that I have planned for myself to do, then we're just not going to have the bandanas. Like, and I don't see how that is a huge issue. I can understand from the perspective of you want your partner to help and to be able to step in to support you. Yeah. But doing it in that way and coloring it as him not being supportive is, I think, unfair. I think you 100%. I think you need to provide other opportunities for support and maybe a little bit more planning, or at least. And the thing is with Edmond, I think that I don't know how intuitive he will be to her needs.
He's not.
And so there will be a lot of times where I feel like she would have to tell him, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can you set aside time for all this type of stuff? And, you know, hopefully sometimes he'll say yes. So that way she feels supported. But that's why this dynamic was what it was going to be, I feel like, for mostly anybody.
100%.
Because he's not going to be able to meet you where you need him to meet you.
He's not intuitive to her feelings at all, to your point. Yeah. You heard him when he was amongst the guys at the honeymoon. He said, oh, I got a hit before marriage. Yeah. That's something that he is saying for himself. Mm-hmm. This wasn't a conversation that he had with KB to see, actually, at least on camera, to see like what is actually going to happen. He was only thinking about himself in that moment. And even if he is thinking about himself when it comes to the whole cutting his hair and not going down the street or going 7 minutes down the road to Ross to get these bandanas and things like that, I can see how you may feel some type of way. It's okay to feel some type of way. But the whole I was in distress, that now you're putting 20 on 2. You get what I'm saying? Like you wasn't in distress. What happened is, I wish y'all watch our other shows, because I have this analogy and I'm going to try to bring it here. Whenever you're with somebody, there's always, especially someone you don't know, there's a tug of war of power. Mm-hmm. Even though y'all can look at us and be like, oh, y'all are such a great couple. When we got together first years ago, over a decade ago, there's a struggle of power. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's a tug of war to where even though y'all like each other, y'all should be enamored with each other, there is a tug of war of like, you supposed to be doing this or you supposed to be doing that, before we actually be like, let's be partners. You get what I'm saying? So because she already viewed Edmond as someone she don't respect. What do you mean, Chris, that she already view him as someone that she don't respect? She's in the bed talking to Edmond about guys that she has sex with based on her 9 months, 8 months, 1 month, 1 day. You get what I'm saying? Usually when you like a guy, based on my experiences, or basically being in relationship with girls and things like that, there are certain things that girls just wouldn't volunteer information to me about. Yeah. Especially when it comes to how fast or how slow they sleep with their partners, if they want me to still like them and take them seriously. Mm-hmm. Like, because they're just a certain level of respect, or that they like me enough. So off top, that she's willing to volunteer that information of, I have one night stands sometimes and things like that, but sometimes I let people wait, and you're going to be one of the guys that's going to wait. You know what I'm saying? That already put him in a box, even though earlier in the situation where she gave that hypothetical about the big butt strong guy, and the whole point of the whole conversation was, I'm trying to measure your masculinity. What are you willing to do? Even though the answer that Edmond gave was diffusing the situation, it didn't diffuse it in a way that she would respect. Right. So in that moment, that's why when I saw that scenario where they was talking about this weird scenario where she get grabbed by a guy, I was like, oh, she thinks he's a B word. Mm-hmm. And that's why she's questioning his answer. That's why every time he diffused the situation, she made the situation worse. Mm-hmm. Even though he diffused it, well, we go walk away. Well, what if we can't walk away? Well, I'm gonna get security. Well, what if security is like he already diffused it 3 ways already.
Yeah,
So we already had evidence that she did not view him as an equal or respected him as a man, as an individual, right? Now go back to my analogy that I wish y'all knew. Whenever you're with someone and you don't respect them, you have little to zero mistakes you can make in that relationship. I call it love on a tightrope. To where Edmond, when it comes to KB and things like that, he's on a tightrope to where he can't make no mistakes. If he says, in other words, he can't say no to going to Ross. He can't say no if she asks, do you want to rub my feet? He can't even express his emotions when he's like, I don't want to do this whole bandana Western theme again, because guess what? I already don't like you enough. And in order for me to say yes or for me to respect you or like you, you have to be damn near perfect in this relationship.
Yeah.
And that's love on a tightrope. And you never want someone to put you on a tightrope to where you can't make no mistakes or you can't be yourself. You get what I'm saying? When it comes to KB, even though, Edmond, we going to address you, it just seems like KB, it just seems like, based on his words, he's just happy to have a warm body. And I don't even know if that's even respecting KB, to be honest, because at one point he straight was kissing the floor, talking about it just feels good to kiss something. And I'm just like, what the hell that mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you shouldn't be with somebody just so you could kiss something, just so you could hit something before marriage. So that's why I'm like, I can see where Edmond is 100% wrong. But let's not act like KB, it was so hard for you to call him out of his name and that he pushed you to your breaking point. No, he actually took the mask off for you and made you say what you was already thinking the whole time.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what happened.
And I do want to say that I get people get frustrated in relationships and say things that they probably shouldn't say. So I'm definitely not like villainizing or demonizing her for saying that.
No.
But it's just like when you are at that certain point and you already kind of don't like the person, then it's why continue. Pretty much. I mean, it's one thing if you love and care for the person and they're stressing you out or, you know, you guys are having a disagreement and things get a little too heated. But it's like, it's his essence. It's who he is.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's him being fake. And why you want to be with a fake dude?
100%. That's why when she called him the B word, I never been called the B word by a woman in my life. Right. And that doesn't mean that I've been perfect. I'm close to it. But the whole point is I've never seen a woman actually respect a guy that she think is the B word.
Oh, absolutely not. But where does Edmond's responsibility lie? Because you were talking about accountability for himself.
Here's what it comes down to, right? He needs to regulate. If he is a fully functional adult, which guess what? I'm not putting him on the spectrum. I'm not putting him on anything like that. He do need to be accountable for his actions and how he come off in this relationship. This relationship is not to serve him in any way and things like that. It's to serve the relationship. So, and the only thing that I can give him responsibility for is, hey, even though she's talking at you, right, there needs to be a better understanding on how he should basically show up to her needs when it comes down to, and I'm going to start at the beginning, when it came down to the whole sex thing, right? He made that about him.
Yeah.
He said, I'm too nice. I'm too nice. I'm too nice. This have nothing to do with that, bro. Even though that may be your past and transgressions or anything like that, to where it's like, I'm usually the nice guy finish last thing. In that moment, y'all having a conversation and you made something that was about y'all, about you. You as a man, and the thing about it is he's a man. You have to think about y'all besides thinking about you in that moment. In that moment to where he was in the Western and things like that when everybody met up.
Before we move on from that, I want to add to that part of the conversation. I think that in that moment, I think he lacks awareness, like big time. And I think that when he and KB were sitting down and having that conversation the next day and he was apologizing for his reaction.
Yeah.
Those apologies are going to be a dime a dozen because he lacks awareness.
And
because of that, he's going to continue to have outbursts and say and do things and not respond in the correct way or the most empathetic way because he it's like he's reacting off of impulse, is from what I can see. And I get where people are saying, like, he's a grown man, he works, he has a job, has all these different types of things. And, you know, I don't know how he is when it comes to his job and how he acts and all that type of stuff, or how he's able to hold it together or not.
Yeah.
But in his personal life, what he's doing is not working. And so to me, I'm thinking that the only real answer for him is therapy, because he literally cannot help himself, is from what I can see. And I think it's just going to be a road of frustration from him constantly reacting off of impulse.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
As well as when I was going to talk about the Western, when he met up at the Western.
Go ahead.
And KB was mad and basically said, get away. He went back and he basically colored the conversation as, I'm going to die. Like basically she's going to kill me. Like, I'm going to die and stuff like that. I'm just like, that's like now you're doing too much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And my thing is, as a man, I'm viewing Edmond as another man that is, like I said, they signed him on this show, so I'm going to judge him. I'm like, you're a functional adult, so I'm definitely going to put some accountability and responsibility at your feet, 100%. I'm not going to baby you, while at the same time, you can still think of it as two children, right? Think of it as the youngest and the oldest. Even though the youngest is going to get talked to and get talked at and things like that, which I'm doing with Edmond, you look at the oldest and you'd be like, KB, you know better.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Edmond, I actually can yell at Edmond to a point, because I'm not going to demean a kid when it comes to the youngest and the oldest. But when the oldest is doing things and snooping down to the youngest level, it's like, KB, I thought of you better than I thought of Edmond. Like, you shouldn't be getting out of character like that. Like, how did you not see the play? Like, even if someone is acting different on camera and off camera, you got to see it as the play. Like, oh, you trying to present yourself as one way compared to how you really are off camera. So why would I play into that persona and then me get out of character on camera? Like that's why I'm like, KB, you know better. That's why, like, a lot of times when I'm talking to KB, I'm like, you are finding yourself in situations to where I'm like, you're a social worker, you talk about all these things, you're very talkative, you're very TED Talkish and things like that. You talk down, you're condescending, all these things. And I'm just like, okay, for someone that's as talkative as you and someone that is so self-aware, someone that's talking about how come I gotta be the one to bring the elephant in the room and things like that, I would think like, okay, Edmond may not be aware, but you are trying to portray yourself as if you are aware. So I'm like, so be aware. You get what I'm saying? If he's upset in the car, because even that other situation outside of them being at the Western with all the other castmates, when the bachelor party was going to be another Western theme, you realize even in his temper tantrum that she was explaining, he did not do nothing to her. She just didn't like the fact that he felt some type of way that it was going to be another Western theme.
Well, I think that the disrespect came in, which was the only way that I knew that it really even happened, because I wasn't too agreeable to him disrespecting her at the singles event, was when he told the driver to talk to him because he didn't want to talk to KB. And I'm like, so there was disrespect. Of course. There definitely was disrespect in the conversation.
And that's intentional.
And that is intentional. And I do think that Edmond needs to get a rein on that, but I just can't help but think about his mother and how we saw a range of emotions from her within 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I see the same in him. And I do think it's uncontrollable. And that's why I can't hold him too much accountable for what he can't control.
Yeah.
And that's why I do look at KB to say, hey, you're kind of the one who has a sense in the situation, so act like it. You know?
Like eject.
Yeah.
You know? To your point about the mother, I actually want to talk about that scene before we get out of here.
Yeah.
A lot of people are pointing to that scene as as evidence of him acting normal. I was like, that was normal to you? Because they used to judging him by, oh, he's not acting quirky. He's not acting quirky or anything like that, or acting weird. I was like, when his mother was talking, he kind of looked uncomfortable. And he was looking down. He wasn't really engaged in the conversation. His shoulders was hunched. He was kind of sulking and things like that. Yeah. He was still, that was not normal. That's not a way that and I don't want to overuse the word normal, but usually with his mother coming, especially with him cooking breakfast and he's supposed to like this is my wife or this is my fiance, it wasn't a regular meeting. You could feel the energy from your couch. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's basically sitting there and letting his mother paint a picture, true or not,
for whatever it is.
For whatever it is.
And not really leading the conversation.
Exactly.
Anything.
And you realized, and I said in the comments, I said he wasn't acting normal in my eyes. It was more like he pitied his mom. Even how he was talking about his mom in the pause. He kind of talked about her discretions and things like that, and basically admitted to KB that even through all her discretions, like, I'm not going to rob my mom from being in my life.
Yeah.
That's someone that's taking pity and basically being like, you know what, she done wrong. I can't really speak up about it.
But I think about the mom, I think that he accepts her fully, and I think he just wants to find somebody who accepts him for all that he is.
Yeah, that's true.
And I do think it's, sad in the sense that he hasn't found that in anybody yet. But I don't think that people need to accept somebody's extremes.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a middle road that can be found there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's why at the end of all of this, I have to believe that KB has a motive. And the motive cannot be to be married. There's no way that your motive, based on what you've seen, based on the checklist that you said you wanted, KB, Edmond has not displayed any of those emotions on camera.
Now, if I can, because I feel like we've talked about that perspective.
What do you mean?
About her kind of like possibly like clout, some type
of
of other
course.
motive and things like that. But I'm curious if we can touch on her being a social worker. Do you think there's any type of empathy that she has for him to where she is trying to extend beyond herself to see what could come of the situation?
No, no, not at all. Because unless there's evidence that she's been fired from other jobs of being a social worker because she's dating her job and she's dating these people that she's helping, I understand what people are trying to do. They're trying to make sense of it because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So they're trying to say, well, she's a social worker, and because she's a social worker, her job is to basically help people and to see the best in people, to see potential, to help out these weird situations. Let me use Jordan as an example. A lot of people compartmentalize what they do and who they are.
Yeah.
Right? And what KB gives me is like, this is what I do. Mm-hmm. I'm a social worker. This is how I make money. This is my career, right? But that's not who I am. I don't date projects and things like that. So even though I understand what people are trying to do there, it doesn't come off to me that she is the type of person to where, like, because I'm a social worker, that's why I would date someone like Edmond. No, because the scenario that she gave me with the whole big buff guy doesn't provide that. It doesn't, even her calling him out his name doesn't give me that. It doesn't give me the fact that she's willing to meet him where he is.
And that's the point that I was trying to get
exactly.
to, is that it's not a thing of meeting him where he's at and trying to work within those confines and constantly explaining things and constantly knowing that you're going to have to go through apologies and explaining to him what he should be apologizing for. Like, if that's the relationship that you're going to have with him at this particular time. Yeah. And being frustrated by it and coming down on him about it is not going to change the situation.
100%. Yeah. And I even go as far as say that's one of the main reasons why I think she probably is going after social media clout and things like that. Yeah. Because she probably want to get out of that, field of work and things like that, to where it's like, I don't want to work a 9-to-5 like the way I'm dealing with social work. And guess what? I respect the hustle. I just don't respect you trying to fool me with it. Like that's all I have to say about that. Anything else you have to add to this conversation when it comes to KB and Edmond and the whole, basically a lot of people feel like, you know what, you made yourself the villain, KB. I'm not gonna go that far in calling her the villain. Even though I saw this happening, I saw this coming, I just feel like, listen here, man, all these people need help. All these people need to talk to somebody because they signed up for a show like this. Like
yeah, that can't be lost on us.
Like that has to be the main thing. That's why I'm like, it's so easy to be like, something's wrong with Edmond.
But I think we also, as the viewers, have to understand that this is an experiment. There is no guarantee. There is no
listen here.
that we're going to find you the perfect match. Fast for Married at First Sight, that's when we can really go in. But the fact that they position it as an experiment, I leave a little bit of room for the fact that experiments don't always work.
I'm sorry, Blair. You got to spend the night in booking. You're not getting no jail you ain't getting no bail out of jail for that, because there's a whole bunch of experiments going on amongst the country that everybody's not signing up for. It's the incentive behind the experiment. is what I can get from the experiment. And I feel like the incentive that when people are signing up for the show is not the actual incentive that they are trying to get, which is marriage.
For sure.
I think it's more than that. It's clout. That's why I'm like, it's kind of hard for me to just harp on something wrong with Edmond, something wrong with Edmond, something wrong with Edmond. I'm like, something wrong with all of y'all. Because y'all are willing to sign up for the show. Megan is supposed to be this rich girl and things like that, and she's signing up for a show to where she basically gonna tie her life to this stranger and things like that. That's weird to me. That's off to me. So that's why I'm like, something's wrong with both of them, because something's wrong with all of them.
And I'm thoroughly entertained.
Oh no, this now don't get me wrong. I don't come to reality TV to try to stand on some fake moral high ground and things like that.
Yeah.
This has been an entertaining season for me.
Oh, for sure. It's been a wild ride.
Like if you want to go somewhere that have to do with like moral compass and things like that, read a book, go to church, go outside, whatever it is. But when I watch reality TV, I'm watching reality TV.
Entertain me. Are you not entertained?
All right. It is what it is. Anything else?
That's all I got.
I need y'all to subscribe, like, share, comment, all the above. And don't forget to go over and subscribe to Natural Nate LA. And we see y'all next time.
Bye.